finally, Mitt Romney gave his much-anticipated speech at the end of the Republican National Convention. How did he do? Well, in an homage to Clint Eastwood, let me say, there was the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, let's start with the good.
My mom and dad were married for 64 years. And if you wondered what their secret was, you could have asked the local florist. Because every day, Dad gave Mom a rose, which he put on her bedside table. That's how she found out what happened on the day my father died. She went looking for him because that morning there was no rose. My mom and dad were true partners, a life lesson that shaped me by everyday example.
He teared up a little bit there when he was talking about his kids. He also teared up. I thought that was a fantastic story. I don't know if it's ironic or not, but it made me want to vote for his dad. Now, his dad, of course, also ran for president. George Romney was a self-made man and had positions that were, even though he was a Republican, far, far more liberal than Mitt Romney. Not even close. Today, George Romney, I know couldn't be elected in a Republican primary, might not be able to be elected in a Democratic primary. That's how much the political spectrum has shifted in Washington, D.C. But a great story about his dad. It's a good way to connect to the audience. Now, he made some good points against President Obama, too.
Many of you felt that way on Election Day 4 years ago. Hope and change had a powerful appeal. But tonight, I'd ask a simple question. If you felt that excitement when you voted for Barack Obama, shouldn't you feel that way now that he's President Obama? You know there's something wrong with the kind of job he's done as president when the best feeling you had was the day you voted for him.
Look, on the surface, that's a really good point to make, and it makes everybody go, oh, well, yeah, I was excited that night, and I'm less excited. Even progressives feel that way. I certainly feel that way. But in reality, when you think about it, look, when a person gets elected, there's a lot of excitement and buzz about the possibilities and the potential. And then legislating is much, much harder, and you get pulled into the mud, and you got to try to compromise to get things through, etc. So it's actually perfectly normal for people to be not as excited 3 years in as they were on election night. Now, I think even given that, my views, I think President Obama could have done a lot more of what he promised during the campaign. I wish he had. That doesn't mean that you should vote for Mitt Romney, because here's my level of excitement if Mitt Romney wins, like -28. It's a disaster for the country. So, but nonetheless, it's a good point to make for him in his speech. Rhetorically, I thought it worked really well, and I thought he had one more good line in terms of rhetoric.
President Obama promised to begin to slow the rise of the oceans. And to heal the planet. My promise is to help you and your family.
Now, there are parts of that I can't stand. His look, the kind of smug, false, modest look. Oh, it drives me crazy. The crowd reaction like, oh, right with the oceans. All that notwithstanding, it's a really good line. And by the way, when President Obama said the line about the oceans and the healing the earth, etc., I was like, whoa, that's too much. That smacked of hubris, and I was surprised he said it, so it's not surprising they come back and use that against him. Now, look, when you look at the heart of the speech, though, it didn't have much policy offerings. The Republicans, they don't have anything new. It's the same three things we always talk about: lower tax cuts, less regulation, more wars, and Romney hit all those themes. Now, his speech was not as ugly and mean as some of the other speeches, or most of the other speeches we saw at the convention, but it did have its ugly parts as well.
I will begin my presidency with a jobs tour. President Obama began his presidency with an apology tour. America, he said, had dictated to other nations. No, Mr. President, America has freed other nations from dictators. Every American.
Now, look, that started off terrible. I hate that apology tour nonsense that they made up. President Obama has never apologized for America. You can never find a single sentence of him saying that. It's nonsense, okay? But that had one of my favorite moments. I wait for it every 4 years. At the Republican convention, all you got to do is say something slightly jingoistic, and the crowd goes, USA, USA. Always love a good USA chant. All right, look, the bottom line on all of this is that, yes, Mitt Romney did have his own set of lies, as Paul Ryan did, hitting the Medicare line, etc., and the same things that you hear from the Republican Party over and over again because they don't have great policy, and the policy that they had was tried under George W. Bush for 8 years, and it just simply didn't work. So overall, I thought that the rhetoric in the speech was pretty good, and I thought it was delivered fairly well, and I'm sure his side loved it, and I think that it might have convinced some independents for the moment being. But here's the main problem with the speech. In about 2 weeks, no one will remember it. There was nothing hugely memorable in the speech. You don't walk away thinking like, yeah, okay, all right, not bad, okay. Wait, what did he stand for again? Well, the only thing I remember is that he don't like Obama. And so I think 2 weeks from now, the only thing people will remember from the Republican National Convention is Invisible Obama and Clint Eastwood. And so I think it might give him a temporary bump up. Almost all conventions do. The Democrats speak next week, and that they will likely erase that bump. And this overall convention was very mediocre, profoundly mediocre at best. The Democrats this time around have been campaigning like lions, to my great surprise. My guess is that they will come out and have a really strong convention, and you will forget all about this Romney speech and the rest of the convention. And so overall, I would say at best it was middling, and I'm not sure that it's going to get the job done for Romney and his team.